Okay, looks like the live stream is happening. Let me go back and check, guys. I'm going to come check on LinkedIn first. Okay, we are live. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is Sudha Live. Thank you for joining me. Another week, another Friday, and I'm here talking to you about the same amazing topic of generative AI, opportunities in AI. And this is being streamed to YouTube, where we will save this and then we'll come back and get you an archive. And I'm going to be chatting with you right here on LinkedIn.
And our son's gotten a bit of a fight. Yeah, sure did.
Okay, I'm back, people. So, where were we? I was talking to you about listening to you on LinkedIn, so I want to go look at LinkedIn. Where are you on LinkedIn? Who is here talking to me? Okay, so if you're watching on LinkedIn, LinkedIn just shows me the number of people who are live. It does not show me the actual people. So you'll have to do something more. Don't like this setting. It is, I switched to a new Mac, guys. I promised that I'm going to switch to the Mac, and that's what I did. Let me just make sure I get my setting right, because I'm not happy with this setting. I cannot sit like this for the whole session and talk for so long. Okay, this is a little bit better, I think. Okay, I think my table is a little slanted, so that's bothering me. Okay, so what do we do in Sudha Live? This is my hour to talk to you about what is happening in the world of AI and what is happening in generative AI and LLM, because this seems like a long week for me, because I was teaching class 3 days a week for Elisava University School of Design and Engineering, and wrapped up the class just this morning, getting a whole bunch of designers to build out prototypes with AI. And I also teach at Barcelona Technology School, that I do only AI ethics in there for 4 different masters. So I'm doing a lot of different things, but it all comes down to AI, Gen AI, what is happening. And I like to teach people who are, because my specialty is no code. So I like to teach people who are in various different roles, so that we can all come together, because that's the reality of how things are done in industry. So typically in my Stanford classes, I teach product managers and business leaders, and then I've chosen to find designers and other job roles, so that we can all bring a different perspective to make AI happen, because it is happening with or without us. Okay, so what I do in this hour is, I have come through the week. What I do is, as I'm going through the week, I'm always thinking about you, and I'm thinking, you would like this, you would like this. Maybe I'll bring this to you at Sudha Live, and I keep taking notes. And that's what and then I go play with them, because I don't like to bring the latest in news. There are a lot of influencers you can follow. I don't like to, I'm not endorsing any brand. I'm very particular about that. And I don't like to bring a tech just because it was, shown to me it looks cool enough. And so one such tech that I'm not going to name is about an LLM that can become a software engineer, or it is, there's like you can do code generation as one of the things that LLM is doing. So this is, I remember Yashashwini Vishnath had spoken to us and showed us something called pair programming, where you can actually use Copilot or any such AI to actually code by your side as a programmer. And this new LLM is like becoming the software engineer, which means it will solve technical problems. So I find that kind of exuberance interesting, sometimes amusing. And this AI was kind of touted in my network, and I'm not going to endorse it, but it was able to solve problems in the tech world with a 14% accuracy. So people were saying, oh, if you don't like it, you're anyway going to say negative things. And so I find that instead of getting exuberant, I mean, the people who are exuberant about this are kind of creating a hype wave around it. But the reality is it has to create value for somebody, anybody out there, and you need to get involved with your ideas, only then it's going to happen. That's my vision for why I teach so many of you in so many different job roles. So what I'm going to bring to you is AI opportunities. So I'm going to bring the summary of what I see in the world. It's not about the AI becoming a software engineer. It's much more interesting things happen this week, all in the world of generative AI and LLM and AI in general, but in different industries. I have to show you a very amazing picture of an AI called Kisan AI. Kisan means farmer in Hindi. And this is Kisan AI is a company who's been helping farmers and agriculture sector with AI, which is very productive, even before this. But what happened is this is the new version of Kisan AI, which is with LLM. So it is such a colorful picture. Just for that, I'm going to show that to you in a minute. And then I bring opportunities, because my focus here is not to just be a pundit and say this is my opinion, which I do have plenty of, but I want you to share things that got me thinking, got me excited, and I want to bring that to you so that we can kind of figure this out together. You might bring a different dimension that I'm not thinking about. And the second thing is I want to bring you opportunities, because when the space is shifting so much, there is a lot of jargons that are thrown at us, and this new stuff, and we need to see, okay, is this real? Is it worth it? What does this really mean? And we can connect it to something else we already know and keep learning together. And if you feel overwhelmed, that you feel like, oh, I don't know coding, or I don't know this particular tech, I knew LLM, now this RAG thing seems to have taken off, and I've not had a chance to go keep learning, or I'm not included in that space for because of my current job, then it's just, you feel like bad, right? That you feel like you're not contributing or you're not part of the fun crowd. But the reality is it's all waiting for you. It's in some ways, there is a lot of innovation happening at a very technical level. There are at the chip level, there are changes. I heard about one kind of chip which is even better than the GPU. It is called LPU, which is about LLMs and running LLMs at the chip level. So the chip companies are innovating and competing with each other and creating something at that level. Remember when we had IoT and Internet of Things, there was this whole thing of bringing IoT and analytics to the chip level. And I remember Intel had analytics right at the chip level, and then there was analytics at the edge, and it all created so much data, and that is what has led to this whole AI boom, and it's continuing to happen. But we're not talking about IoT, but I'm going to talk to you about IoT. The Kisan AI, IoT, and then there's a bunch of stuff happening in LLM space that I'm going to bring it to you. And then opportunities-wise, there's a couple jobs. I told you last week itself, the jobs for students have shifted from undergrad students to more master students and PhD calls. So there's a lot of PhD calls. And then it will shift again, and then there'll be a whole bunch of postdoc calls. So that's kind of the trend I'm seeing in the beginning of the year. So the undergrad ones already happened just before the holidays in Q4, and then bulk of the hiring and all internships happen by Jan, Feb, and then now the master's one. But I'm seeing a bunch of innovation ones. I don't know whether it is me and my feed. I love cars, and I love, I realized today it's not just the cars. I like how in the cars that are built with beautiful aerodynamics. I'm talking to you about self-driving cars and energy efficient cars and connected cars all the time. But in reality, I think I like the looks of the car, and which gives them speed, I guess. But I would like them to be energy efficient and do something useful for people than just, speed across the road. So I see that a bunch of autonomous vehicle, connected cars. How do we get from, make sense of the the transition to the AV space or the EV space and ADAS to AV, it's bubbling up and coming into my radar. It could be me because some of our feeds get biased, and I'm known to have taught, autonomous vehicle business at Stanford. So, maybe that's why I'm seeing it. But I usually see like a ebb and flow of tech. So I'm seeing that a little bit. And then, so I'm going to bring you some of the opportunities. So Volvo Innovation Center right here in Silicon Valley has an open job for an innovation position. So that sounds interesting. It's the car side, not the truck side. So I'm going to bring you more jobs. And then there's a bunch of events. I mean, in Silicon Valley, especially where I sit, there's hundreds of events that happens every single day, and everything is about generative AI, everything is about LLM, there's some developer platform. I heard about how a whole bunch of tech companies went to Bangalore. They went to a couple other places in India. They're doing some rounds to Nigeria, to Rwanda, and they're looking for engineers. So there's a huge bunch of engineers who are all picking up this LLM trend and using that to up-level their own learning, get hands-on skills, because you can be, doing anything in college. So this week I was talking to somebody from Nigeria, and they are this student is a mechanical engineer. He's studying mechanical engineering, but he self-taught himself AI. And he says, I want to get to work in AI and get to be contributing to creating AGI, which is the general AI, right? So I'm not even going there. I don't talk about AGI, but there's a promise to go towards AGI where the AI can, do things more independently and not be this narrow AI. And so I was talking to this person, and then I found that there's a whole bunch of energy and buzz with tech companies looking to hire. And a lot of hiring is happening on data scientists, researchers, a lot of researchers, and product managers. And I have done my rounds. I have not traveled till recently, and I'm picking up that again. But there has been, on the enterprise side, there's been this question: Is this real? Is this real? Is this buzz? And how do we make sense of it? But then you see case study and everything happening around you, and you say, I'm missing out on the opportunity. So my job is to bring you a summary of the week of cool things that I think I believe has potential, has wings if you participate and do something with it. Bring you some jobs, events, so that I'll sift through the events. I'm not going to go through, I'm not one of those people who's going to share, here's a list of 100 events. It's so overwhelming when you say 100 events. And I'm going to give you one or two that I think I would attend if I had the time or interest, and at least I would send it to somebody else who would find that useful. So I'm going to bring you those. There's been a bunch of calls. Call for papers, call for nominations, whole bunch of different calls. So I'm going to bring that, and there's been some grants and stuff. So that's the general format of this. So I'm going to come back to LinkedIn. My God, so many people. Why are you so quiet? So if you're going to be quiet, send me some emoji. At least I need that, because I was not even looking at LinkedIn and I saw the numbers go up. So I don't know what you found interesting in what I've been promising to talk today, or what you find useful that I could talk that would make your time with me worthwhile. So talk to me. Okay. So, and again, there's all these emojis at the bottom, right? Like you can send the thumbs up and the celebrate and all that stuff. I've never had anybody use the humor, laughing emoji, the funny emoji. So I don't know. I'm hoping one day that I will say something funny enough that you will be able to send that to me. Okay. So if you're here, tell me if you're, out of these topics that I'm talking about, what are you seeing in the week? Is there a burning question that I can answer? I could give you what I've compiled, and I can keep talking to you and, answer questions if you end up with something. But I would like to know, is there a burning question or a topic that's interesting for you in the week? Otherwise, I'm going to jump in to my collection. So let me go to the Kisan AI that I promised you, right? Let me see, where is that link? It is one of my windows. Okay, hold on. So basically, Kisan AI has been doing a whole bunch of things in the agriculture space. So, and the colors are popping. If I could only find a way to share this with you quickly, you would know why I even care about sharing this with you. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yes, guys, I am going to find it for you. Okay, Zoom just sent me. I told you I'm going to share and move to a different setup. Okay, I'm just going to share my desktop. It doesn't matter. Okay, so you see what I'm seeing? So here is the Kisan AI. You're going to see a lot more of my windows than I planned to share with you, but that's okay. So this is called Kisan AI from Pratik Desai. He's the founder of Kisan AI. And so what they are doing is they're starting a series of fine-tuned vision LLM for pest and disease detection. Did you see that coming when I kept saying it's about agriculture and LLM in that space, right? They've already been doing something with agriculture space. So that's the cow. It's dressed up with rainbow color cow. And so their whole thing is they are going to use vision. There's something about the vision models, guys. Remember when Dali came and they had this whole avocado chair and they were like different kind of avocado chair? I was like, oh my God, why can't we do something more useful, more interesting? Why does the example have to be an avocado? And then I myself, when I was showing you Gemini vision models, and I would say, let's make a donkey, let's make a dog, right? There's something about animals. And then because of the llama, that's, the various llama models out there for LLM, we've been hearing llama, this llama, that. So there's been this colorful llamas dressed up, right? And so it makes sense. It's the agriculture sector, but it is vision. So they've kind of generated this popping color cow so dressed up. Okay, so they are basically doing fine-tuned vision LLM for pest and disease detection, and have conversation about how to fix this, what is the prevention and all that stuff. And that is called Denu Denu Vision. I don't know what Denu stands for. And it is a LoRa O1 fine-tuned over QL chat. So there are like several open source LLMs out there. So it's done for 3 major crops and 10 diseases. Okay, and it was trained on synthetic data generated from around 9,000 disease images. So one of the things I tell you is you have to look at things even if you don't think, oh, this is not something that I can go. Maybe it's on GitHub and you're not coding. It doesn't matter. I mean, you hear about new language model that they've trained on this model. They've talked about creating synthetic data. So you might be thinking of creating something like some AI to test it out. Like I have this students project where they want to compare 2 set of images and find whether a dog is limping or not limping. And I showed them, you just go to Gemini and you create synthetic images of dogs that are limping. And so this is very interesting that how did they generate synthetic data for 9,000 diseases? So it's very interesting. How do you know, like, how do you train it for generating even that image? You can imagine cow images. I'm not qualified enough to say that for 9,000 images of the cow, but I find that very fascinating. Um, you know, that is my take on it. Okay, so that was one, but that is like another LLM that is coming in that I told you that it is happening, right? So the big news, I think there's one more I want to finish up with the LLM section. There is one more. Remember, there was this whole multiple languages that was coming out of India, and there is something called AI Bharat, and Abhinaya Mahendra, who is from Global South in AI community at New Rips, who presented the Tamil LLM, has been very active in that space. And I've shared a bunch of events about her from her group and stuff like that. So this came from Abhinaya. And I respect Abhinaya in this space. So I would say when she's talking about the launch of Indic LLM suite, I've shared something like this happening for African languages. And so this is, Indic LLM suite is a collection of resources for developing 22 Indic languages with 251 billion tokens of pre-training data and 74.8 million instruction response pair. So this goes back to, and then here's where the links are. And for those of you who are new here, everything that I'm talking to here, I'm going to come and share the links out in my newsletter. It is bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. So it comes out on Mondays. And thank you to Parya. Just going to put that here. Let me come back. Yes, I'm going to come back and share, guys. I'm not sharing. I thank you for the reminder. I appreciate that. This is bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. So you can either follow that and you will get the newsletter on Mondays. What's going on? Why is that not loading? Bit.ly/Jamthe newsletter. Okay. So you will see all the links, this recording, many more resources of jobs and events and everything nicely organized. Thank you to Pariya Sarin for making that happen. Okay, so you don't need to worry about the links. But what I was showing is the concept of, when you say new language LLM suite, it is about language translation. So we are going to have, every week I have my student community come together and have a speaker talk about something interesting, teach us something interesting. And one of the things that is happening in the LLM world is there's an excitement to build chatbots, but there is also there is a whole movement going on from around the world to build language translation for variety of languages, which are called low resource languages. So I always had that question, what is the starting point? And this instruction LLM suite, Indic LLM suite, is something like that for 22 Indian languages. And we have Bello from Nigeria, who's going to come and show us at Weekly Wed how to start from scratch. So if you want to understand this whole sausage making of LLMs, not that, oh, this foundation model exists and now you're going to fine tune it and you're going to build a chatbot and you go, where's the value in it? Who's building it? How are they doing it? That's a different dimension of conversation. And then it goes back to what is the LLM I should be using? And we used to have this conversation about open source and closed, and that's kind of been thrown out the window after Mistral kind of did a partnership with Microsoft. So it's not just about that. And now we are hearing small language models, very specific language models for context of specific domains, a lot of them evolving with more and more names in there. So I have this burning question, and I'm going to find answers on Wednesday. Where do you start in creating this pre-training model from instruction set? That is what this Indic language set is doing for 22 languages. So what kind of data do you need for pre-training the model? So what they end up doing is typically when somebody is building this, they're still not completely doing it from scratch. They're going to take some form of GPT or Mistral or something that's out there. And then they are going to do some kind of pre-training on it with their language. And then they are going to do some fine tuning on it. And then they are going to build the language translation. So that's where we are going with all that. And so I'm going to find answers for that at Weekly Wed. That is, so if you're on LinkedIn, if you follow Business School of AI, the Weekly Wed will get streamed there and you'll find it. You can go back, look at the archives for past ones, or if you missed it, even this one, I think we will post on Business School of AI, but this one is, I typically stream this onto my profile. So do you want this continuation on this topic of LLMs? Or do you want it on something else? Are you thinking about, do you want to go past generative AI? Because the other topic that is hot, that is happening this week is about the AI ethics and regulation. There's been so many pundits, so many discussions that has been going on for a long, long time. And the big one is EU has something called the AI Act. and that passed the EU Parliament. What does that mean? I'm going to share a link, and I'm going to let you read more. But I'm going to share my summary because I was just talking to one of my students, and I realized something happened that was so relevant just for that today, right? So one of my students, I think I told you this, one of my students from this designer set of students learning AI came up with this concept that they are going to create an AI that is going to take data from people from their past, and then be able to have a conversation with children, grandchildren, and people who miss them. And so this is kind of evolved into various forms. And I was saying, what is the modality of this? Is this going to be chatting with somebody? And they said it's going to be getting a call from somebody who died and we miss them. And so, yeah, it does take a creepy level, but there are endless possibilities of what you can do with AI. And so this week we were having a discussion about cloning voice, and everybody thinks of cloning voice as something that, oh my God, your voice could be cloned and somebody could impersonate you. Or if you're a famous person, they could say things about you like they did with Tom Hanks, that as if you're saying something and then you have to come and refute that it was not you. And if they bring Gandhi from the past, or we've had things like that, and bring politicians from the past in various countries, then who's going to guard that, right? So there is more to it in cloning your voice because it is your biometrics. So what I'm excited about the AI Act is EU gave us GDPR, because of which we got privacy laws in many countries. And the concept of GDPR is you own your data, that everybody has followed, who have followed and built the laws around that. But the crux of GDPR is not just only about your data, but about consent. I could give you permission to use my data, but educate me what you're going to use the data about. And if you're going to use the data for something else, you tell me what it is, and I might still give you permission, or I might say, forget all my data. And so that created a whole cascade of how data architecture is built, and how partnerships happen from one brand to another, who were sharing data and creating disintermediation in various different industries. So now the EU Act has officially passed, and what it means is it'll take, I think, 21 days to come into effect. And then a lot of prohibited system provisions, they're saying some of the provisions will come into effect by end of 2024. Right? And then there's a few provisions that will take a longer time. They've been given more time because it takes time to implement them. But there's significant penalties with the prohibited. Some systems, prohibited system is like a big list, and you say, you just don't do this. This is not acceptable to do with AI. And the fines can go up to 35 million euro, right? So they're basically saying, the prohibited system, when you say what is prohibited system, is you don't knowingly do manipulative and deceptive practices that will distort person's decision making capability. So you're kind of like, you're giving fake news, knowingly you're giving fake news, and it is creating significant harm. So manipulative behavior and this decision. So if you're building recommender systems and you're thinking you're helping the customer, like I was thinking I'm helping the customer when I was working on e-commerce systems in eBay, it's now when you're thinking of AI and you say, am I manipulating the user's decision that they would not otherwise do, except for my information that I'm giving in a very deceptive way, right? So there's a whole list on that. The other thing is, if you target groups based on their age or disability, or if they're poor, and you distort the behavior, that is exploiting vulnerabilities, that's a big no. And then the big thing, what I was telling you about the voice cloning part, there's a bigger bucket called biometric categorization. So any system that categorizes people based on biometric data to infer kind of sensitive information, if it can organize this, and based on that, now I know your race, or I even know your political opinion, like it happened with our elections last round, or sexual orientation. So if the system is able to categorize, and there were systems which will say, I look at your face and then I can read your emotions, that was kind of not based on proper science. So it prohibits labeling people or filtering, like even if the biometric information is legally acquired, and I gave my biometric, like my face information, because I allowed iPhone to open my phone, not open my face. Or I use it in airports where I just could walk in and pass through quickly, because that helped me. If it was used, collected legally, but it was ended up being misused, that's not okay, right? So I was having this discussion, and there are some exceptions for law enforcement. But I was talking about this to this student who wanted to do the voice cloning of a dad to read a book to this daughter who is missing him. So there's all this material from the books and summaries, that handwritten notes that the dad has given in the past. So when you think about, that's the application my student was talking about. And when you're thinking about the voice cloning part, I was just saying it's not just about giving voice to a system that will clone, and it could clone the person. Think about your giving voice and biometrics. How else could it be misused? It could create a digital identity of you, just to be uh, allowing you to shop in Amazon or do anything using voice. Or they could have a trace of your voice and say, now I recognize this voice to belong to Ryan, and now I can say Ryan was here, there, and this other place, and start profiling him, or kind of get into a creepy mode of tracking anybody. Right? There's lots of bad things that can happen. So biometrics is not just about cloning, not just about impersonating somebody, and it is not just about legally giving the biometric information. So it's a very big bucket. So they've done very nice justice to the biometric categorization, they call it. And then they have the social scoring, and then based on you kind of time-based social behavior, a lot of gamification, or something you can predict that they will behave a certain way, and leading to very detrimental treatment. So that is one. And then real-time biometric identification has been banned. So biometric in public, what I was telling you, if this company collects my voice and says, I will create a clone, and you can use that to read a book or something like that, like what my students want to do, but they use it to go track people in public, like I was giving this Ryan example. That's officially, they've called that out and said real-time biometric identification, especially for law enforcement. There's a whole bunch of fight going on between STOP and the city of New York, and the city of New York has pulled back on Nightscope, the robot that roams around a mall that I use as a case study in my classes, security robot. Anything that's going to profile people and using their biometric is a big no-no. So it's a lot of restriction, right? And very narrow definitions spaces they have given. But it has to come from, you have to go, in a normal democracy, you have to go to the court. If you want to wiretap somebody, you'll have to go make a case, and the judge approves it, and then they would kind of be allowed to go do that. And so they'll have to go through the same process that they have to get the judicial approval to go do that. Otherwise, it invades individual privacies. And again, in criminal offenses, this is a big one. There's a lot of risk assessment, and it forbids the systems from like just predicting the risk of an individual. This is like Compass database and the AI that you can build with it, that I've been teaching in my classes. I'm so happy that a lot of things that I've been teaching is been called out and discussed and banned. And so now I have to create new curriculum and new content. That's what I'm going to do. But those of you who have been in my class or participated in this discussion, think about it, because this is exactly what we were talking about. And I think Compass database and the whole evil behind it was introduced to me by Susanna Raj, and that got me to teach AI ethics and go deeper into this mode, because I'm very exuberant about AI and Gen AI and the possibilities and value creation from data in general. And then I have to balance it with, I do not want to be irresponsible teaching this without talking about the other side. So I'm happy the other side, if there are laws in place, there's going to be less of those. But the more we get creative things, there will be more evil things that would be potentially created. So it's not that we will stop talking about inclusiveness and AI ethics, but this is good news. Facial recognition databases, a system that creates to expand facial recognition databases through untargeted scraping of images. This comes to generative AI. So many of the vision system, like the Kisan one we were talking about, Midjourney and Stable Diffusion and the vision APIs everywhere, a lot of vision systems are built by scraping data from the web. Not just vision systems, but all LLMs are. But vision systems are actually trained by images that is copyright image, and they're not compensated. That's a big cry from the outcry and fight from the creatives from Hollywood and everywhere else. So officially, if the vision system is creating like facial recognition database through scraping. This is specifically not just all vision systems. So they're not talking about the vision system has learned to create images because it understood what that image is from copyright data. They've not yet touched that. But what they're saying is if it recognizes faces because they scraped the internet or they scraped unsolicited places where there could be images of kids, that was a thing in Facebook, that's a big no-no. And then emotional inference, I've already told you this is quackery, not based on science, but they have specifically said emotional inference in workplaces. In one of my classes, I believe on Business School of AI, when we were doing this inclusive AI course, I showed you Kodak had this app where you had to smile, and then the office door would open. You had to smile to get the printer. Instead of tapping your badge, that is what you would do in a typical enterprise setting. Now you have to smile. And so I was just thinking, if you're frustrated running around and getting a printout, nowadays, I think we cut less trees. We don't do as much printouts, but these big machines, we used to do printouts. And I'll be so frustrated and running, I cannot smile. And then the AI would say you're not smiling because it's not a legitimate smile because of how it's evaluating. So emotional inference is not just that kind of funny thing, guys, to predict. There's a whole bunch of systems saying this person is bad and mad and sad and judging them and profiling them inside the companies that will affect their growth in the companies. It's a form of discrimination. So basically saying workplace emotional inference inside the workplace and in universities and colleges, education institutions, they just said that's not acceptable. That's a sensitive environment, and that's not okay. And in fact, we have some of these in US. This is the AI Act from EU. I'm very wishful for a lot of this to come into US, like GDPR came in and created privacy laws, because we have a lot of our schools monitored, saying we are protecting from gun violence. We are not stopping the gun violence. Instead, we have cameras which are watching our kids. And we are saying, okay, we are going to watch, and then they do a bunch of profiling saying, is this kid aggressive? And then maybe that person will come with a gun. That I don't think there is any science behind this. I think it's a lot of profiling that they do. And so that's not okay, according to this EU AI law in workplace and in education institutions. And then prior authorization of the use of real-time biometric systems by law enforcement. So they're basically saying it mandates. So if law enforcement is going to use real-time remote biometrics identification systems, like remotely, they're going to identify who you are by wearing those glasses that they can see and see whether you're the criminal that they're looking for. And I'm not talking science fiction. I'm not talking movies. This happens in some countries, in some places, those systems exist. So this is a nice summary. First of all, I want to thank Barry Scannell for this, because I love this summary that has come from Barry, which does a very nice job of this. And the details of it is here, so I will go give you the actual EU AI law link itself. And you're going to see more of that. So one of the things I've been asked constantly, almost from last year, right, about generative AI foundation models, LLMs, teach this, and I've been doing that. My Stanford class in April of last year, I had to switch it to all generative AI, and there's been constant flow of new things happening. And so even in my current courses, everything is all about generative AI. And so, and I'm scrambling to keep up in touch with all this. And that doesn't mean that I'm not talking about the ethics of it. I'm going back to that place of talking about what's happening and how do you create value and how do you build this and what kind of applications you build, and not talking about the ethics of it. So this was kind of a reminder for me. So I am planning another set of courses on Business School of AI later, likely in early summer. And I want to see, because you've been asking me about generative AI, LLMs. So there is a free LLM course that I've put out. Let me put the bit.ly for that. Bit.ly. Where is LinkedIn? So it is called bit.ly/LLM. I think it's called Jamthe LLM course. Set up by Pariya. She is our bit.ly queen. Let me double check that's the right URL, guys. Bit.ly/Jamthe LLM. I want to see whether this is Jamthe LLM course or LLM Jamthe course, something like that. Okay, it is Jamthe LLM course. Okay, bit.ly. Yes, I know I'm not sharing the screen, guys. One second. Jamthe course. Okay, I don't mind coming back and sharing the screen. So I did a series of 4 webinars on LLM, and we put that together in Business School of AI as bit.ly/Jamthe LLM course. So you can enroll it. It's a free course, and it's 4 different webinars combined together as one course. And once you finish that, you can get a beautiful certificate and happily put it on LinkedIn. But you'll get a very solid foundation about LLMs. So this last one I did was in November, and the space is picking up still. So coming back, some of you are asking for overall generative AI foundation. You want a course. And then LLM, I've been hearing from people who want LLM course. So please take this LLM course and tell me if you want something more than this. And then there's another ask of the live lab course that I always do with AI to take some real data, real business application, and bring diverse set of people to think and build LLM and build something, right? Useful for the enterprise, useful for some industry, and how to go about it. And this week in my university class in Spain, one of the things I thought was about building generative AI chatbots. And Yashaswini Vishwanath works with me on that. So thank you, Yash, for contributing to this beautiful lesson. And we taught students how to create using OpenAI, using not the GPT store, as they call it, drag and drop, no code. I don't like it. I think it is not scalable. It's not as useful because it's very canned and very limiting. So I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about creating a chatbot, which is an intelligent chatbot using one of the GPT APIs using Playground on OpenAI. I think it's called Assistant API is the API they would use, but it has a drag and drop interface and you can build a chatbot. And my students did such an amazing job. You might think, okay, they select all this and then you give some prompts and it creates a chatbot. They are designers, and I taught them AIX design. And I said the future is going to be the chatbot as the interface to any product. So take all your products and tell me how the chatbot is going to be the front end to earn the customer trust, create the engagement. How will you make it happen? How do you do user testing and A/B testing to figure out what is the right way to go through this? They did such a brilliant job. So happy with that. And so I just wanted to see. I'm not thinking just about creating a playground kind of app. I'm thinking of something real for the enterprise as a live lab. So if that is of interest, you should talk to me. So the other thing is, let me close this window. So I told you about Barry Scannell's AI Act. Thank you, guys. So I'm coming back to LinkedIn to see question, comments, shares, emojis, to see what you have to tell me. Is there something that's interesting for you, exciting for you from what we've been discussing? Then talk to me, okay? Is there anything else that you have a question or comment, or are you working on any of these? Is this even useful for you to think about the whole voice translation? Not the voice clone part, the biometric part was kind of shocking for me from the EU AI Act. So I want to know, is that something what was it that jumped at you when you were listening to that, or when you heard about the AI Act? Is there some aspect of AI Act that you know about that I'm missing, that I'm not even bringing to you? because I thought Barry's summary was very succinct. It was not opinionated. What I liked about it is it was Barry's summaries was very logical, clean, and just summarized it instead of Barry's opinion. Okay, so how much time do we have? We are reaching the end of the hour. So one of the things that I want to bring you at this time of the year is last week I got you this women's planning event, which is what we do for International Women's Day. And I'm going to give you the list. It is, hold on for a minute, right? Okay, so one of the things that I do once a year, yes, I'm going there, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah, I want, yeah, no, I know I'm not sharing. So I would like to get the URL set up so I can go there. Especially with my YouTube, I'm very sensitive because it's going to give recommendation. God knows what it will give. And it's not just going to give me recommendation based on what I saw. The whole idea of the recommender system is based on my likes and preferences, it will give me something. Based on what I watched, it will say, this is similar items. So far, I'm fine with that, right? When it starts giving me things for what it wants to, what it is top trending or whatever it thinks is my profile, based on that, it starts giving me things. Some of them are insulting. So not going to show you those. So this is bit.ly/women's planning playlist. So we streamed this and I showed this at Sudha Live last week. And I would recommend learning from these amazing women. And this is all 2 minutes videos. And I don't think all the list of all past years are not even here. But this year's women's planning videos are here. I showed you this beautiful Veena music at the end of last Sudha Live. One of the things I do with another bunch of amazing women is called IoT Women, which is on IoT Day, which is just like women's planning is 2 minutes video. This is 20 minutes video, or it could be 30 minutes video on a topic related to IoT, AI, AV, Gen AI, data. It comes to the world of tech and with language and, different dimensions. And it can be in various different depths, various different roles, all women speakers for 24 hours. This is our 6th year. And Roxy Stimson and I are going to bring you IoT Women back again. And Parya Sarin is on her 3rd year joining us on this craziness. So I'm going to bring you the URL. That is where I'm going. Give me a minute. Why do I have too many windows on YouTube open? Hold on. So I'm going to close the women's planning window. Hold on. Yes. Okay. So IoT Day, this is an official launch of IoT Day. And instead of, I'm not just calling random women who are already in my network and doing this. This is a bigger affair. We make sure that we get women from around the globe, covering all possible time zones. And at 9 a.m. in your time zone, there will be a session that will stream on my YouTube on IoT Day. And so what we are doing is, yes, we don't charge for it. It's all free. We are crazy. So where is this? Okay. So this bit.ly/IoT Women is where you can go and find out about IoT Day Women. And we did this since 2020. This is not since 2020. It's much older. So I need to get that changed. So what we call it is, we say from 24 women in 24 hours is our target. We end up getting more than 24 women, but we do this using your nomination. So we've added, so you go to bit.ly/IoT Women if you want to sign up and attend. And we'll leave you alone till April 7th, maybe. And then we will send you the Zoom link for joining. And then we'll give you the calendar. And you can just come here and watch it and sign up. This is a sample of what happened in 2023. So what we do is round the clock so I'm in Silicon Valley in Pacific time zone. So on April 8th, 5 o'clock till April 9th, 5 o'clock is the 24 hours we cover. So on on April 8th at 5 o'clock, it becomes 9 o'clock in Singapore. And we start off, right, at every 9 o'clock in different time zone of the different speakers. We set it to stream on YouTube. So you can just follow my YouTube, and then you don't need to go any of these places, and you'll get the things, the streaming videos from these amazing women. And Pariya Sarin, thank you so much for maintaining the site and the schedule, putting up the schedule here. This time Sneha Jadhav is going to help us because I put the schedule together, so it gets very complicated with a lot of women who want to record, a lot of women who want to do live, a lot of women who are from different time zones. And then we have this thing of 9 o'clock in your time zone, you go live. And so it gets very crazy, but it's beautiful when it all comes together. You learn so much. And this is amazing women who are top of their game and very passionate. So what we do is you can just sign up on YouTube, come check the schedule and say, this looks interesting. And then, come watch it. Other than that, and we'll update this, right? And then on my California time, morning from 10 o'clock till 5 o'clock, we will do a live stream on Zoom. You can come in and out. There's no compulsion. If it's interesting, stay on. If it's not, doesn't matter. So that is what we are doing. And this is the list of the women who presented in 2023. And what we are going to do is getting the nomination from you. And then what is showing here is 2023 archive. You can keep going. We have the 2021. We have a lot of different speakers and archives. You can check who those past are. We have too much of information here with the past archives. This is how we actually organized in 2020. Like in a spreadsheet cut out. I literally remember getting a screen grab, maintaining this in Google Sheet and just putting it. So now I'm lucky that we have amazing set of people. We have Sneha Jadhav. So Roxy Simpson is my partner in crime doing this. She's a busy executive from F5, but she finds time to somehow magically clone herself to be here with us on April 9th every year. And other than this, we have Susanna Raj, who will make sure that we talk about inclusive AI and ethics and a whole bunch of other inclusion and diversity topics. Pariya Sarin is our program chair for this, bringing this website and helping us, say smart and organize. And who am I missing? Sneha Jadhav, I already mentioned, is going to volunteer because she works on IoT specifically. So what is IoT Day without an IoT queen? So we have that. And then what we are going to do is, this is the bit.ly/IoT Day form. This is actually case sensitive. And so I'm calling you to nominate people. You can nominate yourself if you want, or you can nominate somebody else. But we want nominations from amazing women from around the globe who are working in different aspects of technology, who would make excellent speakers to come talk to us. And during our live segment, what we do is we will have a panel of multiple women who are all talking about AI ethics. Last time we had one panel about soft-spoken, but very strong is one of the panel sessions. This time we are planning to host a panel on queer women. I don't know that. Oh, there is one on quantum computing that is going to be a panel on one of the live panels this year. So there's a bunch of interesting topics, and it's all bubbling up, and it kind of gets formed. So we need your nomination. We need these amazing women from around the globe who I don't know, who's not in my network, to come, and they're going to ask question of what is this. So send them to IoT Women, bit.ly/IoT Women, and they can actually go to the YouTube, to my YouTube, and there's like a whole recording and streaming of past IoT Day sessions are in there. And we will organize this. And what we will do is, this time, one extra thing, other than the amazing women that I was talking to you about, one of the things, so we want your nomination, that bit.ly IoT Day form. You can just sign up, join my YouTube and just watch. Or you can come to IoT Day Women and then scroll through and say, is this worth it? What is the quality of this content? It is amazing, but go check it out. And then the final piece is, this time, instead of just, we are getting nominations and we have our archives, So you can watch and attend. But one of the things we are doing is we are signing up ambassadors for different regions. So it's not me just coming up with these are the women. This is not just a couple of us who are living in California or in US or just Europe in a very limited sense, thinking of inviting people from around the globe from our access. Even if it is 3 degrees of separation, I can find somebody from Rwanda, because we had people from Rwanda come in. Ruth Neduta spoke to us about BERT and did a session, hands-on session of what is BERT, which is the precursor for GPT. It is a bidirectional transformer system. GPT is a single directional transformer system. And she did this 2 years back at IoT Day. And so we do get people like that with 2 degrees of separation, but I need your help to actually reach a lot of people, because they are amazing women out there. I don't know them, and we need them, right? So what we are doing is we've got ambassadors signed up for Latin America and for India, specifically for Southeast Asia, for 2 regions. And I need more ambassadors for around the globe, who will be local women who are very passionate, who will reach out to people in their region, which will cover their country and time zone over a band, and will help organize this and bring interesting content, and then help put this together. Think of like 24 hours of content. Even if the 10 to 5 is live, it's a lot of videos. When you start putting it on YouTube and organizing it, it takes more than a day's time, guys. So we will get nominations till the 25th, and then we will get all these recordings and done before end of the month. And then we start putting it up and organizing, and it's just a lot of work. So when it comes together, it's beautiful. And I find it such a blessing to get to know so many people who are passionate about so many topics, who are giving time. And I learn from this whole exercise. By the time everything is done, it's like a party. I just sit and listen and learn, and it's wonderful. But I need your help to nominate women from anywhere, any country, anywhere. It doesn't matter. And any topic, let them decide what the topic is that makes sense for them. And we'll make sure that if there are overlap topics, that there's different dimension covered, and we make the schedule super interesting. And so I want to call out two of the ambassadors that we have signed up so far. And one of them is Kushi Upadhyaya. She works in artificial intelligence, and she's studying. And I'm finding a lot of students. It's just amazing, the energy that is coming from students. And so Kushi has agreed to work with us to find people from the Southeast Asia countries. So thank you, Kushi. And then the other person who is actually our ambassador for Latin America, let me find that, was there at Women's Planning. And if you listen to her, you would know. And I love it when my students come back into my life. I just love it. So this is Alejandra Infantis, and she's a US researcher. She's a lawyer and psychologist. And she came in and talked about how the UX design, which is done with behavioral analytics for legal systems and or for privacy laws. I was talking to my students on the designers who were building AI, saying, you think of the design of AI and the UX flow when it comes to AI and interacting with AI, where the UX meets AI was our lesson for the last couple of weeks. You think of the different flow for where you're collecting training data, where you're getting permission from the user for privacy, where you're actually interfacing with the inference AI. Maybe there are multiple aspects of inference AI, and telling them about yourself, giving them, credibility by showing your customers and case studies and all that. But each of them becomes different flow. But the AI aspect of it is the training AI, inference AI, you're interacting with it. And then Alejandra reminded me that there is AIX design, and she was taking my AIX design at Barcelona Technology School last year. And so she was telling me how there is AIX design and a behavioral psychology that is used in all the forms where they ask us for a permission. So I was saying how GDPR gives us permission, or when you have a cookie and it says accept or decline, and that things that you see. But all of those pop-ups are also designed by somebody with some design sense and understanding of psychology guiding us towards acceptance of what they want. So Alejandra actually called out that and did a session at Women's Planning 2 minutes Women's Planning video last week for Women's Day. So I'm very excited that Alejandra is going to be joining us an ambassador. She's based out of Spain, so she's going to reach out to some women in her region there. Maybe I'm going to get a lot of Barcelona Technology School alums. I would love it, but we are pretty open. Also, she comes from Latin America, so she's very excited to bring Latin American women of all technology topics and various dimensions what you bring to enrich us. So Alejandra is going to be our ambassador for LATAM. Thank you, Alejandra. So with that, we still have ambassadors for your region. I'm not even going to chunk it and tell you, what it is. So if you're watching, if this is interesting, tell us. If you're watching, you want to nominate a woman, just go to bit.ly/IoT Day form and talk to us. And if you're like, there's so many names and so many URLs, just go to bit.ly/IoT women. And I'll put all this in the newsletter and share with you. So as we're getting to the end of the hour, I want to tell you about the jobs and stuff that I promised you. So there is a job from Mozilla. Let me see what that is. So there is a AI policy manager from Mozilla. And then I see a bunch of things suddenly bubbling up from SEMA Technologies. They were called out in Forbes as one of the good companies to work. And I have a eBay colleague maybe that is showing up in my feed, but a couple of good things are bubbling about SEMA Technologies. I have no affiliation. There's a director on software product management, and this came via Elizabeth Samara Robio. Thank you, Elizabeth. This Volvo innovation director, I told you this innovation job, it's actually an innovation director at Volvo, which looks super juicy. And then Berkman Klein Center has a summer internship that is for students. And what else am I missing? So I told you about the different launches. There's a bunch of calls. In terms of event, I have been part of iOS Dev Camp over many years, led by Dom Sagala, and the same team, Raven and Dom, are coming together to create something called Vision Camp that's happening March 29 to 31 at UCSC Silicon Valley Extension here in Santa Clara. There's a bunch of virtual events from NVIDIA. I'll share that happening on in the NVIDIA event that is happening on all of next week, but there's a bunch of events related to Gen AI and LLM and autonomous vehicles. That's super interesting for me. That's happening on Tuesday. What am I missing? And then the event, the people I told you from Abhinaya Mahindran, who has built the LLM, Tamil LLM, they're hosting a whole bunch of very interesting meetups. What they call is local meetups, but there's a lot of interesting topics in there. So one of the things I saw is March 16, that's tomorrow. There is an event. They'll delve into the cutting edge topic that are shaping the future: edge machine learning, autonomous cars, and stable diffusion. So I don't know what the specific focus of this, but there's a bunch of stuff happening in there. And there's a few more jobs and a bunch more events that I just don't want to read it like a laundry list, that I'm going to bring it to you. Let me check the LinkedIn one more time in case you're there and you have question. And if you posted something, it just shows up as a notification for me. I don't get to see it. So if it is something that you're dying to get an answer and I've not responded to you already, please post a question and I'm happy to find the answer for you if I don't know. And before I close out, I have no affiliation with this group, but I found this very amazing group. I accidentally ran over. This is called the Black AI Think Tank. So it just popped up and they had like an audio event. This was specifically about ethics and entrepreneurship. And John Passamore is the CEO of Latimer. And recently I've been using Latimer and following Latimer because we had their CTO, not their CTO, their technical advisor come in and talk to us about how they're creating bias mitigation system for making Latimer as an LLM that is more inclusive of Black history. That's how it got started, but they're building a lot more fancy tech for bias mitigation and interesting stuff. And so that's how I got to know. Maybe that is why it showed up on my feed. But I was very fascinated. Every single person here is doing something amazing in the AI and LLM space. Such a diversity of work that they're doing was very, very fascinating. So I'm going to pause this and show you this if you want to take a screen grab or just go track these people, because they're each one of them are worth following. And then I never attended, and I'm doing this live with you, but I've never attended a audio event on LinkedIn. And so it was very fascinating. So they showed the pictures of these people who are speakers, and they were live on audio. And then there were like 50, 60 of us who were listening in. And so it was very fascinating, a very different experience. And I think the main leader who drove this was Stefan Youngblood. And there were a lot of resources shared. So I'm going to share some of these resources with you at the newsletter. But this group, especially Stefan, is worth following, because looks like this is something Stefan has been doing for a long, long, long time. And so with that, I'm going to wrap up. So everything that I'm telling you guys, I've been talking for the last hour, is at the Jamthe Newsletter, bit.ly/Jamthe Newsletter, and IoT Women, bit.ly IoT Women is the place to go for finding everything about IoT Day, so that you can support us by nominating women from around your region, or just come attend IoT Day as this nice, juicy conference from just on IoT Day, where you can get to learn about every possible technology topic, starting from IoT and data, cloud, all the way to AI, Gen AI. Every dimension of Gen AI and LLM is going to be there, because our theme is Gen AI, because that's the hot topic of the year. So with that, I'm going to check LinkedIn one more time. Okay, I see you there. You can add a comment, send an emoji, or tag a friend, or come back and watch this when you think of anything else. Also, you can add a question. Oh my God, numbers are going up again, guys, but you've been very quiet today. So I am wondering what you're thinking. But thank you for hanging around with me. I appreciate this. And I hope to continue the conversation with you. And we have Bello from Nigeria, who's going to teach us machine translation from scratch. What does it mean to create an instruction set, and what does training and pre-training and fine-tuning mean to build language translation for a low resource language? So we're going to learn that at Weekly Wed. And with that, I hope to be in touch with you through the week. And I am going to take off into the weekend. So have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you all soon online and into the week. Bye. I'm just going to stop the live stream.